Narcissism is not an innate personality trait, but rather the result of behavioral choices made over time. Each reaction, each decision in life creates a habit, and those habits gradually shape one's character. This means that a narcissist does not intentionally become toxic, but they choose behaviors that benefit themselves while disregarding the consequences for those around them. When facing a narcissist, you not only have to deal with complex emotions, but also unpredictable behaviors. A narcissist never admits their mistakes and always finds ways to blame others. This makes you feel like you're fighting in an unfair confrontation where everything revolves around them. However, what many don't realize is that narcissistic behavior is not an innate instinct, but the result of a series of choices they've made throughout their lives. Each action, each response they have to life has contributed to shaping this personality. Therefore, narcissists are not born that way. They have chosen to become this way through decisions and behaviors in the past. The important thing is that we cannot change their past, but we can change how we communicate and deal with those behaviors. In this video, we will explore effective communication strategies that help you protect your emotions and stand your ground when dealing with a narcissist. Together, let's learn how to communicate intelligently, not only protect ourselves, but also to help narcissists become aware of the impact their behavior has on those around them. According to experienced psychologists and therapists who specialize in researching and treating psychological issues, narcissism is not always a deliberate choice to become a toxic personality. In fact, narcissists are not born with this personality. It is a result of a long process they have gone through. The development of narcissistic personality traits is a series of decisions and actions they have made throughout their life. These choices have gradually led them to prioritize themselves, sometimes to the point of selfishness and a lack of empathy for others. However, what's important is that they are not consciously creating these behaviors. They are simply reacting in ways they think are right in specific situations. When we view a narcissist, we often see them as selfish, unempathetic individuals who only think of themselves. However, if we understand more about how this personality develops, we will realize that it is a result of choices they made from an early age. A person's thoughts influence their behaviors, and behaviors create habits. When these habits persist long enough, they become a part of their personality. Thus, narcissism is not a fixed trait, but the result of a process that unfolds over time. A person does not naturally become narcissistic. It is the repeated selfish and unempathetic behaviors that create this personality. Therefore, the actions and decisions of a narcissist are not random or unchangeable. They are the ones who have chosen how to react and act in every situation. And these choices have shaped them into individuals who cannot see anything outside of themselves. However, this does not mean they cannot change. Everyone has the ability to become aware of their behaviors and can change if they realize the effects of those actions on themselves and others, rather than blaming their innate nature or fate. Understanding that narcissistic behavior is a result of a series of choices can open the door to change. One of the key points that psychologists and counselors emphasize is that narcissism is not a final destination, but a process that can be changed. Over time, narcissists have chosen behaviors that benefit themselves without considering the consequences for others. This does not mean they are incapable of love or unable to understand others' pain, but rather that they have built a self-protective system in which all attention must be focused on them. These behaviors become habits, and when these habits are repeated long enough, they gradually become part of their personality, leading them to no longer recognize the selfishness in their actions. Narcissism is a development of a series of self-defense reactions that the narcissist has formed to cope with past hurts. They cannot recognize that their actions are hurting others because, in their view, they are the center and everything must serve their interests. However, this development is also the result of a process of choices throughout their life. A child, when hurt or abandoned, may learn to protect themselves by becoming the center of attention. If this protection is not intervened in time, they will gradually form a habit, and that habit will become part of their personality. Therefore, it is not just their nature that causes narcissism, but the choices they made throughout their development. This does not mean that a narcissist is incapable of change. Awareness of how they have chosen their behaviors throughout their life is the first step toward change. When a narcissist begins to realize that they can choose to behave differently, instead of continuing with old habits, they can change and grow in a more positive direction. Instead of acting only for personal gain, they can learn to put themselves in others' shoes, understand and empathize with the emotions of those around them. However, this requires a process of self-awareness and internal change, as narcissistic behavioral habits are deeply ingrained in their personality. Changing narcissistic behavior is not easy, but it is not impossible. When someone becomes aware that they have chosen their behaviors over a long period, they will start to have the opportunity to change. The key to change is awareness and accepting that their behavior may have caused harm to others, even though they had no intention of doing so. This awareness will help them reassess their actions and choose behaviors that are more aligned with the benefit of everyone, not just themselves. Narcissistic behavior, although it may result from poor choices in the past, is not something that cannot be changed. When a narcissist realizes that they can choose to act differently, they can begin to change from the smallest habits in their life. This change doesn't happen overnight, but if they are willing to be aware and confront reality, they can gradually change and evolve into individuals who can live harmoniously with the community. In conclusion, narcissism is not an innate trait, but the result of a series of behavioral choices throughout life. What's important is that a narcissist can change if they become aware of their behaviors and the consequences of them. This change is not easy, but if they have a determination and awareness of their actions, they can completely rebuild their personality and become someone who can love and respect others. Narcissism is not an innate trait, but the result of a series of choices made throughout life. Every action and reaction of a narcissist is the outcome of thoughts and decisions they made in the past. This emphasizes that personality is not fixed and unchangeable. It can be shaped and altered through awareness and future choices. The important lesson here is that we can change if we become aware of our behaviors and understand the impact those actions have on ourselves and those around us. While narcissistic traits may cause harm, they are not something that cannot be changed. Change requires awareness, determination, and the willingness to face the consequences of past choices. Through this, everyone can learn to change and grow into a better version of themselves, not only for their own sake, but also for the community around them. Thank you for watching the video. I hope the information shared in this video helps you better understand narcissistic personality traits and how to communicate effectively with individuals who have these traits. If you found the video helpful, don't forget to leave a comment below and share your thoughts on this topic. We would greatly appreciate your feedback to help improve our content in the future. Please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the upcoming videos. Don't forget to click the notification bell to stay updated on the latest videos covering other interesting and useful topics. Thank you once again, and we look forward to seeing you in our next videos.